With the first pick overall, the New Jersey Devils are proud to select from the U.S. program, Jack Hughes.
Let's go, baby!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Heads Up Hockey. It is the off-season. It's almost time for the Stanley Cup playoffs. So with that being said, we're going to have two teams that are looking to hoist the cup. Only one can touch it. And it's just a matter of time when we get to the winner of the Stanley Cup. We'll see all the extra news and rumors pop up of who might go where and what will happen this NHL offseason. I am your own Jersey Joe of Heads Up Hockey Podcast, and it's been a very awesome year for Devils fans, hockey fans, wherever you are, wherever you listen from. I have a Lincoln tree that I have all my socials and everything that you can follow the show at, and I'm on Twitter, and I'm on pucksandpitchforks.com. So with that being said, it's a beautiful day once again here in coastal central New Jersey. And I will say this, it's the month of June. A year ago, I was on Locked On Devils podcast. I said to Trey Matthews that the Devils would select, or very likely select, Simon Nemec with the second overall pick. This year, we already have Simon Nemec for a full year. He's already on his way to be an NHL caliber right-handed defenseman. And with a guy like Severson looking like he's on his way out, I believe a guy like Simon Nemec will benefit from a big cap hit prediction for Severson. And I just can't see the Devils bringing back Severson for that reason. And I understand that he's a longtime soldier on this team, but there's a time where you got to move on. You got to bring in the new era. And I just see Nemec being the guy. To me, he's the best right-handed defenseman since Eric Chernak coming out of Slovakia. And Nemec, to me, he's ahead of that bell curve according to hockey prospecting. So I see him being the guy who can create more offense, but his defense, he's learning more, and he's really adjusted playing in Utica. And the way he is mobile, being, west to east, north to south type guy, knowing how to shut down different lanes, he could certainly put on a show. And he played for Slovakia recently in the IHF U20s, where unfortunately Slovakia didn't go all the way through. It's not all on him, but they just went up against some really tough competition, especially one of the home country teams in Latvia, who upset a lot of teams, even the U.S. And it just goes to show how hard it is to play international games now with, the pandemic officially done. So really, I believe the Devils know what they're up against. Guys like Eric Halla, I can see returning. I mean, he said clearly that he wants to be here. He wants to sign the contract with Tom Fitzgerald on the closeout day. But to be fair, I don't see Tomas Tatar returning. I mean, he benefited a whole lot from Nico Hischier. And I can see the Devils bringing up a Graham Clark, or if they bring up Nolan Foote, he'll replace Miles Wood. And I can see some of those moves happening. And if the Devils decide to go the UFA route, they can definitely look at a Garnet Hathaway or maybe a Tyler Bertuzzi. But the thing about Bertuzzi is, because he's a physical guy, sometimes he breaks his wrist a little bit, and sometimes he sacrifices his health to bring out the physical side of his game, but he gets in the dirty physical style of play, and he might just fit something like that. I believe a guy like a Bertuzzi would fit in, as long as it doesn't take too many injuries. But the thing is, would Tom Fitzgerald want to sign him for something like $5.5 million? I still believe Timo Meier takes a long-term deal with the New Jersey Devils. I'm guessing 7 years, $8 to $9.5 million. That's where I'm thinking, because Evolving Hockey had him around 8.8. So I just think with the qualifying offer of $10 million, it's definitely going to hit a certain threshold when it comes to the cap hit. I really think that my biggest concern with the way things are with certain prospects is going to be Alexander Holtz. If he can get someone that can fix him with his skating game, I think he'll be a tremendous threat, but he should definitely be playing top 6 minutes like he's supposed to be. He shouldn't be on a third line, and he'll have to learn how to skate better and be more agile. I know he has it. It's just a matter of, will he be able to use it more consistently? And he's got the potential to do a lot of shooting, but if he's used in a trade, it's probably going to be for someone who's under contract that is going to benefit the team. And the Devils don't have a first-round pick in this year's draft. So if they do trade with someone, they're going to get a notable player for him, and they would definitely have to get a notable pick in return, so that way they can get the best of both worlds if he does get traded. Because Tom Fitzgerald did make it stated that he wants to try and get a first-round pick in this draft because you have one of the deepest drafts in quite some time. And I understand the whole thing about Chase Stillman. Some people are meh about him, but he's been having a great run with the Peterborough Petes, and he's been a playmaker in the playoffs, in the Memorial Cup run, and he's certainly looking sharp. And I still believe that he could be a Valtteri Filppula type player. I mean, average producer at worst is a good player. And you definitely need those guys to be like third line type guys who can also chip in the playoffs. And it's only a matter of time when those kind of guys hit, because, you know, Nathan Bastian is still around, Michael McLeod is still around, and Michael McLeod needs to be extended. He definitely hit it off well in the playoffs. Igor Sharangovich, I think, might be one of the odd men out as a restricted free agent. I mean, he dropped off a cliff big time this year, 16-point drop. I know he's decent on the penalty kill. He's got a really lethal shot. When he uses it, I just think that he might fit in with another team if he does not re-sign for a fair deal. And if he does go to arbitration, it's likely going to backfire against him. And just thinking about the way this team is at, like, they have just about $34+ million in cap space to use, but you're going to have to pay Jesper Bratt. And if Bratt asks for $8 million, I think he's out the door. I've talked to a couple of people who believe that he doesn't fit that criteria, and I think he's worth it between $6 and $7 million. And it's going to be hard to swallow. And it's just a matter of time when the contracts get done. But over the past couple of years, Jesper Bratt's camp has been a little slow to sign any extensions. And it reminds me a little bit of the William Nylander situation years ago in Toronto, where he missed some time in camp and it kind of messed up his season a little bit. So I tend to think that that is a bit of a pattern. And another point is the Devils have a new associate coach in the waiting, and Andrew Brunette is officially in Nashville. And it's just a matter of time if a guy like a Sergey Brylin will be here. And I'm not sure if it's going to be Brylin. I heard the name Elias thrown around, but I think the Devils are definitely looking at maybe if someone from the outside, they're going to look for someone who's younger, more experienced. And I really like watching Edmonton in the playoffs with their power play, very lethal. But I still think not Edmonton, but Toronto, their coaching staff might look a lot different with Brad Treliving there. And the Devils could keep an eye on what Toronto has to help improve the Devils' future successor for Lindy Ruff, not just now, but down the road. Because Lindy Ruff was a really good regular season and helped the Devils get through the first round, and that's never been much of a problem. It's just a matter of getting them against a team like the Hurricanes where they were more physical. I feel the Devils need to add guys with more grit, sandpaper, more Sasquatches, and definitely need guys like a Daniel Missoul who can come up soon and definitely clear the crease out more. But Luke Hughes and all those guys, they're going to be just fine. They're going to be points producers. They're going to get a lot out of this team. And it's just going to be a wonderful year going forward. The Devils are going to find ways to maximize their cap space the most efficient way because it's going to get utilized a lot quicker than we want to. So that's the problem of being a winning team, and it pays to have success. And without having some sort of success, you're not going to attract great players. But that's why you have to always draft. And when you draft, whether you're a good team or a bad team, it helps your pipeline stay fulfilled. And I think the Devils will benefit from a lot of stay-at-home defensemen in this draft. And guys like Matteo Mann are on top of my board when it comes to that. And definitely look at the Peterborough piece. They do have a couple of guys that are up there. And I just think the Devils will be finding a lot of really good gems in this draft. But I do see maybe a few guys get traded. I see guys like Mackenzie Blackwood getting their rights traded away, stuff like that. Guys that just don't fit. It's only a matter of time when the Devils move on from the deadwood on the team and they bring in some new, fresh wood to build this team upward. And Miles Wood, to me, he's probably played his last game, and his injury with his hips is not looking so good. He's not the Miles Wood that he used to be. And I know he still takes some bad penalties, but that's just the nature of the beast sometimes. And look at what happened when the Devils traded Pavel Zacha. He was inconsistently offensive producer, but they traded him for a veteran forward who would fit our mold better. So I think the Devils have a really good culture in the locker room. It's only a matter of time when that culture adds in more new players who want to be here. The Devils will attract guys from other markets, and they will build on that Tom Fitzgerald, Lindy Ruff play style, that run and gun, but also that newer, physical, young, youthful, two-way play defense. So the Devils are going to add more defensive defensemen, and guys like Kevin Ball are only going to grow over time with that. And I have to elaborate on this because Tom Fitzgerald sees guys like those, like Siegenthaler and them in the playoffs, played well above their means in the first round, and they're only going to grow to play even better and be playoff teams and eventually one day get back to hoisting Lord Stanley's Cup once again. And remember, there are 31 other teams in this league, and it's not as easy as it looks. So, but once you get to the playoffs, it's one of 16 teams, and you have to play one of those 8 teams that you go up against. So really, you make it like 1 out of 4 because you're playing those 2 teams that you're going up against, the other 2 teams trying to eliminate the other opponents that are trying to get to you. So there you basically have it when it comes to the Eastern Conference. And the Eastern Conference to me is the conference of competition. And this is my hot take. It might not be as much of a hot take as you think, but I believe the Las Vegas Golden Knights are the most seasoned team going in, and the Florida Panthers are playing with house money. And I mean in a good way, but Matthew Tkachuk and those guys, they do have some experience, but Vegas has been there. Guys like Barbashev have been there. Pietrangelo have been there. They know what it takes to win. I still think Vegas takes it in 6, maybe 5, but it'll be an interesting series. I really would like to see what you people would say. For those of you who want to sponsor this podcast, at Heads Up Hockey Podcast, I'm on Anchor.fm, Spotify, wherever you can find me. I am Jersey Joe of Heads Up Hockey. Find me on Twitter. And my handle, I'll give you my handle because I am at Jersey Joe 11 _NJ. And the podcast on Twitter is at Heads _up _hockey. So also, if you're following on YouTube, please hit the like button, subscribe. I know you're listening. It's time to hit that like button so YouTube knows that you like my content. And if you don't, tell me why you don't. But if you really like what I do, you can like and subscribe and give me the highest rating on Apple and Spotify, wherever you listen. Tell me where you're from. I'd like to get to know you well. I'm Jersey Joe. Have a great day.